4 days before our family reunion, Linda sent me the menu for 22 people. My name was beside chicken, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, green beans, rolls, and dessert. She told me to arrive 6 hours early. I had only agreed to lemon bars. I replied that I'd come at the normal time with dessert. Linda called because she'd already bought everything. Without me cooking, she had to cut dishes or find help. Eric was sitting beside me on the couch when his mother called. I put the phone on speaker because I honestly thought there had to be some misunderstanding. Before I could say much, Linda asked, "So what time are you coming over Saturday?" "The same time as everybody else." There was a pause. "Hannah, I need you here in the morning. I bought all the chicken. I bought the potatoes. I bought the green beans." "I know, I saw the menu." "Well, then you saw how much there is to do." I also saw my name on almost all of it. Linda sounded genuinely confused by why I was making that a problem. "You always do the food with me." I could tell we were looking at the same history very differently. Eric glanced at the menu on my phone and said, "Mom, did you actually ask Hannah to make all this?" Linda said she thought it was obvious. I liked cooking. I knew her kitchen. I had done big meals with her before. She had already shopped based on what she thought we were making. Then Eric made the mistake I think both of us expected him to make. He looked at me and said, "Could you maybe go a few hours later instead? Not 6 hours early." "Just, I don't know, help with the main stuff?" I stared at him. He got about halfway through a second sentence before stopping. "Okay," he said. "Yeah, that still assumes you're cooking." Linda heard him and got irritated. "I thought we were cooking together." "We've done it for years." I said, "You can ask me to help. You didn't ask me." She answered, "I thought this was what we always did." That was closer to the truth than I wanted it to be. I actually do like cooking for groups. I am the person who looks at 20 people coming for dinner and starts thinking in sheet pans and oven space instead of panicking. 7 years earlier, not long after Eric and I got married, Linda had hosted Thanksgiving and gotten overwhelmed. I offered to come early. We cooked most of the meal together, drank coffee in her kitchen, and had a good time. After that, I volunteered a lot. For Christmas one year, I offered to handle 2 sides because Linda was dealing with a bad shoulder. At another holiday, I brought a main dish and stayed to help clean up. None of that bothered me. I liked being useful, and Linda usually seemed grateful. The shift had been gradual enough that I had helped create it. At some point, "Do you want to make the macaroni?" Became, "I put you down for macaroni." Then it became messages about what time I should arrive. Most of the time I went along with it because I probably would have said yes anyway. So Linda was wrong, but she had not invented the pattern out of nowhere. That did not make me less angry about the reunion menu. I asked her what she had actually planned to cook herself. She said the macaroni, maybe, and 1 pan of chicken. She had expected me to handle the rest while she set up the house, made drinks, moved chairs, and dealt with people arriving. There were 22 people coming. She had designed the whole morning around me being the second person in the kitchen, except she had never checked whether I was available for that morning. She said, "I already spent the money." I said, "I'm sorry you bought it before we talked." She did not like that answer. What am I supposed to do with all this food? I don't know, freeze some of it, ask people, make less. I shouldn't have to start calling everyone 4 days before the reunion. I almost said, "Then you should have called me before you made the schedule." I did not. I was already getting angry enough that I knew the cleaner sentence in my head would come out meaner than I intended. The call ended awkwardly. Linda said she had to figure things out. I said okay. Nobody said goodbye in a particularly friendly voice. Afterward, Eric apologized for suggesting the compromise. Then he added, "I do get why she assumed it, though." That irritated me all over again. I know why she assumed it. "I'm not saying she was right. It sounds a little like you are." He rubbed his forehead. "I'm saying you have gone over early and cooked with her at almost every big meal since we got married. And I'm saying that doesn't turn every future Saturday into her time." He nodded, but not immediately. Eric was supportive, but he was not instantly perfect about it. He had grown up in a house where Linda made plans first and asked for adjustments later. A lot of things that sounded like commands to me sounded normal to him. The next day, Linda sent him a shorter menu. Potato salad was gone. Green beans were gone. She was going to make one large pan of macaroni. Eric's sister had agreed to handle one pan of roasted chicken after Linda actually called and asked her. Linda had also ordered fried chicken from a grocery store near her house and added packaged rolls. Eric showed me the message and said, "She figured it out." I felt relieved for about 5 seconds. Then I felt guilty, because I knew exactly how much easier I could make it. I knew which rack in Linda's oven ran hot. I knew her largest roasting pan had a loose handle. I knew where she kept the serving dishes, which ones could go in the oven, and how long that macaroni could sit before it started drying around the edges. More annoyingly, I knew she would probably spend Saturday mornings stressed and moving too fast, and I could fix that just by getting in my car. That was the uncomfortable part of the whole thing. I was not refusing because I could not help. Helping would have been easy for me. Friday night, I asked Eric whether I was being ridiculous. He said, "No, but I think you're going to feel bad either way." That was not the reassurance I wanted, but it was accurate. I said, "Your mom is going to think I made her buy fried chicken to prove a point. She already thinks that." "Great." He laughed once, then saw my face and stopped. A few minutes later, he said, "If you decide you want to go early, I'm not going to tell you not to. But don't do it because everybody assumed you would." That was probably the most useful thing he said all week. Saturday morning, I woke up much earlier than I needed to. I lay there for a while mentally running through Linda's kitchen. Chicken first. Macaroni assembled while the first pans were in. Potatoes would already have needed boiling if she had kept the salad. Rolls last. I hated that my brain was still doing the schedule. I got up, made coffee, and actually opened my closet. For maybe a minute, I was going to get dressed and drive over. Then I looked at the ingredients I had bought for the lemon bars. Those were what I had promised, so I stayed home. I made the lemon bars, washed the mixing bowl, and tried not to keep checking my phone. Eric left a little before me because Linda had asked him to move folding tables from the garage. That was a normal favor, and more importantly, she had asked him. Before he left, he said, "You sure?" "No." He waited. I said, "I'm still not going early." "Okay." By the time I arrived, cars were already lining the street. I carried the lemon bars inside and could tell immediately how Linda had adjusted. There were grocery store fried chicken boxes on one end of the counter. The macaroni was homemade. The rolls were in foil trays with the store labels peeled off. Someone had brought a big bowl of salad that had clearly not been on the original menu. Eric's sister was slicing chicken from the pan she had cooked at home. Linda looked tired, but she was moving serving spoons around and telling Eric where to put a cooler. She saw me and said, "Put the lemon bars over there." I did. Then she looked at the platters and said, "Can you help me arrange these before everybody sits down?" It was such a small request that I almost said yes automatically. 10 minutes of arranging food would not have hurt me, but the way she asked landed badly because I had been in the house for maybe 30 seconds, and somehow I was already being redirected into the kitchen. I said, "Not right now." "I'm going to say hi to your mom." Linda pressed her lips together. "Fine." I went into the living room, sat beside Eric's grandmother, and talked with her until lunch was called. Later, I carried her plate because she was using a cane and did not have a free hand. I refilled her tea once. I helped Eric move a chair when someone needed more space at the table. I was not trying to avoid touching anything related to food for the rest of my life. I just did not go back into the kitchen and take over. Lunch started a little later than Linda had planned. People ate fried chicken and roasted chicken. The macaroni disappeared first. Somebody asked where the potato salad was, and Linda said, "We simplified the menu this year." The person said, "Probably smart," and reached for more salad. Most of Eric's relatives had no idea there had been an argument. They talked about somebody's new roof, a cousin's college classes, and whether the kids should go outside before dessert. The lemon bars went on the table with 2 store-bought desserts someone else had brought. After people started leaving, I took my empty baking dish into the kitchen. Linda was wrapping leftover chicken. For a minute we were alone. She said, without looking at me, "You know I was counting on you." "I know. I had to change almost everything." I was tired and I answered more sharply than I meant to. "You can ask me to help. You can't put my name on 6 hours of cooking and tell me afterward." Linda set the foil down. I did not think I had to make a formal appointment with my daughter-in-law to cook a family meal. "That's not what I said. You knew I had 22 people coming. I also knew I agreed to lemon bars." She shook her head. "You made the week much harder than it needed to be. And this is the part I did not handle especially well." I said, "No, you made it harder when you planned my whole morning without me." It was true, but my tone was harsher than it needed to be. Linda went quiet. I could have softened it right then. I did not. Instead, I picked up my dish and said, "I'm going to find Eric." She said, "Fine." On the drive home, Eric waited until we were a few streets away before bringing it up. He said, "I think you were right about the cooking." That sounds like there's a second half. There is. I looked at him. He kept his eyes on the road. "I think you were pretty hard on her at the end." I immediately got defensive. She was still blaming me. I know. So what was I supposed to say? "I don't know, maybe nothing. I'm not saying she deserved an apology. I'm saying you were mad." I wanted to argue with that. Then I remembered the way I had said the last sentence in the kitchen. I was mad. Yeah, she still should have asked. She absolutely should have asked. That was about as resolved as we got that night. Linda and I did not have some big reconciliation afterward. We were polite. She did not apologize for the menu. I did not apologize for refusing it. A week later, she sent me a picture of the unopened bag of potatoes and asked if I wanted them. I said yes, because free potatoes were still free potatoes. A few weeks after that, she started organizing Thanksgiving. This time the message she sent had categories instead of names. Main dishes, sides, bread, desserts, everything was blank. Under the list she wrote, "Tell me what you and Eric want to bring, if anything, by next Sunday." Eric handed me his phone and said, "Look at that." I read it twice. He asked, "Are you making macaroni?" "I haven't decided." "Lemon bars?" "Also haven't decided." He smiled. "Store-bought pie, now you're talking." I still did not know what I was bringing to Thanksgiving. But for the first time in a while, neither did Linda.